If there wasn't the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the garden, then that would mean Adam and Eve would not have an environment where they could exercise free will. They would have been programmed to behave in a certain way. There was no scope for love or worship without that tree. That's how important the tree is, because it provides an opportunity to exercise freedom. And like was beautifully explained earlier by Paul, without that freedom, even love does not make sense. If I know that my wife is saying all the nicest things to me simply because she's programmed in a certain way, the value of her appreciation of me actually goes down. Okay, for true love makes sense, is meaningful only when there is choice. Now, God made things that go by instinct. The animals of the field, the birds of the air. God made things that go mechanically, like the planets that orbit the sun. Very mechanical. They were made like puppets. But human beings alone were made in God's own image, which means as much as the planet is much bigger than us, heavier than us, physically speaking, we are in that sense the crown of creation, because we are made in the image of God, male and female. And God gives specific tasks for human beings to do, have dominion over all creation. And Genesis 2:15, till the earth and take care of it. So that's a very specific command that God gives. So it only becomes meaningful to have a relationship between persons if there is choice. And for choice to be there, there has to be an environment where you could exercise that freedom. So that's what is provided. It is not that God intended to put Adam and Eve in the garden and somehow entice them to do the wrong thing. Actually, Genesis chapter 2 says, all the trees in the garden were pleasing to the eye and good for food. So there was no reason why Adam and Eve needed to zoom in on this particular tree. There was enough pleasures kept there. All right, of course, the evil one tempts them, and rather than listening to God, who's higher up in the hierarchy, they stoop down and listen to the voice of a serpent. And then rest is history. But thankfully, God has not given up on us. He's kind of brought back salvation, where a sinful humanity can be transformed, where a fallen humanity can today worship the Lord, not because we have to, but because we now appreciate what and who God is.